Could you everybody, Coach Rab here, and a happy Saturday to you. So this is going to be another one of the extended versions, so you will have to jump across to Facebook to see the full thing. The things I'm going to discuss today is the updates. This is Get Lean Part 16 and set point theory, which is going to play a big role. Set point theory explains why short-term diets don't work and why some of the weeks, like this week for me, when there isn't too much of a result on the scale, why it's still a positive thing. So we're going to discuss set point theory. We're also going to discuss a special offer on with my membership, because the workouts I've been doing in my membership are exact workouts I'm doing to get in shape, so you can too. And I'll also discuss the over 50s program that is coming soon, which if you're a member you would get for free anyway, but if you're not a member you can get into it. So if you're on Instagram, jump to Facebook now. So Getting Lean Part 16 this week went really well. Diet was brilliant, fasting was great, low carb all week, 3 cardio sessions in, all my workouts, and when I stepped on the scale this morning, a very small amount had moved. And this happens for a lot of people, and sometimes you panic, because if you're placing too much emphasis on the result on the scale, it can be a bit disheartening when it doesn't always play ball. I'm not concerned, because I can see my target zone is getting leaner and leaner. I also understand about set point theory, which I'll just explain in a moment, and that's very important for days like this. Now, before I explain set point theory, it's important to remember that on any journey, you need to have multiple ways of measuring your progress. The weight on the scales is one measurement, one metric. There's measurements, physical measurements. There's how your clothes feel. There's how you look. There's your energy levels. There's lots of different things that you can factor in. So don't pin all your hopes on one, because it won't always deliver. And when that happens, you don't want to then feel down in the dumps. Now, set point theory, the vast majority of what I'm going to tell you is fact. There's one portion of it that's theory, hence why it has to be set point theory. So set point theory is that all our fat cells, my fat cells, your fat cells, friends and family's fat cells, are exactly the same size, right? So it's the number of fat cells that you or I have that changes our body fat composition. Now, if we overeat during any periods of our life, right, so consuming excess calories, your body will prime, because if there's an excess of fat, it needs places to store it. It'll prime itself to create more fat cells. Now, sometimes when I'm doing this analogy, I put cups on a table, right? And the cups represent the fat cells. And then I fill the cups up and off you go. Now, there's key periods in your life where you're more susceptible to producing fat cells. So puberty, early adolescence, pregnancy, menopause, your body might just be priming to store. But overall, if you consume too many calories on a regular basis, your body needs a place to store that energy. It will create more fat cells and therefore put more cups onto the table. Now, your set point is the weight that you pretty much stay at week in, week out, so long as you're not overeating and so long as you're not undereating or dieting, right? You'll probably find that there's a weight that you spring 4 or 5 pounds either way. For some people, it would be, I don't know, let's just say, like previously I would be, say, 15 stone and spring 5 pounds more either way. Now, obviously I bulked up before this particular project, but regardless. Then what happens is you start on a diet plan. So you get on a diet plan, you make all your changes to your training, you move more, and you do all this great stuff, and you start to get a result, right? So think of those cups on the table filled with water, quote fat. The cups are the fat cells, the water represents the fat. So you're emptying out all that fat, okay? You're doing great. You might drop 10 pounds in 3 or 4 weeks and you're feeling fantastic. But then at the end of 3 or 4 weeks, what happens is you, life gets in the way. You start to say, oh, 10 pounds is enough, I feel great now. And then you start to go back to regular eating. And then slowly but surely, the weight creeps back on. And guess what? You spring right back to pretty much where you were. And then get frustrated because you're like, God, I worked so hard and I'm right back to where I started. And that's because you didn't change your set point. What I mean is, you didn't do anything about the fat cells, you only burned the fat off, right? So then that's why some people say, well, what's the point? Because if I'm just emptying the fat, I can just put it right back on again. It's an endless battle and it'd be quite disheartening. So the real secret is getting rid of the fat cells, so reducing your body's ability to quickly fill them back up. And this is the bit what comes in that's slightly theory. So if a fat cell remains empty long enough, it will shrivel up and go dormant. And when that happens, the chances of your body reactivating it again to use it and store fat in it are very, very slim. The one part of theory in the whole of this is how long that fat cell has to remain empty for in order for this to happen. Now, my personal opinion, I believe it will be linked with sugar. I honestly think sugar that promotes an insulin response, insulin being a builder hormone, I suspect to be to do with sugar. But the experts reckon it's anywhere between 3 to 6 months of the fat cell remaining empty for the fat to be gone. I'd say not permanently, but for the fat cell to shrivel up. But what that means is the weight that you lose on week 1, at week 12, that weight's staying off. The weight you lost on week 2, by week 13, it's staying off. Week 3, by week 14, it's staying off. You see what I mean? So at the 3-month mark, when you've been doing well in your plan, all the weight you lost in the beginning will be pretty much gone. I would use the term permanently loose, but we can say permanently for this particular lesson, which means you'll have adjusted your set point, and that's really, really important. So if you start your journey at 200 pounds, and at 3-month mark, say in the first 2 weeks you drop 10 pounds, right, something crazy, and did really, really well, then 3 to 4 months down the line, that 10 pounds will be completely off, and you will have adjusted your set point by 10 pounds. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes, like for example, this week where my scales didn't budge as much as I wanted to, I do feel in better shape overall. So I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to change anything this week. If I don't get much of a change next week, then I will make some adjustments to do with movement. But regardless, I'm not panicking right now. But this week was still another week that kept all that other weight off. And therefore, I'm a step closer to adjusting my set points. So you see, you don't always have to be losing every single week. So the weeks that you don't lose, it's important to reflect that it's still another week in the bag that you're closer to the weight you have lost being permanently gone. So set point theory, go look it up. It's fascinating stuff. Like I say, the key thing about the theory, and I suspect I'll put more numbers on it soon, is just how long the fat cell has to remain empty for before it shrivels up. So like I say, the analogy is cups on the table, and the cups represent the fat cells. You empty all the fat out of them, but the fat cells remain. If after a couple of weeks you just go back to normal eating, hence why short-term diets don't work, you just end up filling those cups right back up. Waste of time. But if you leave them empty long enough, 3 to 6 months, and again, if you're making lifestyle changes, then why wouldn't it be 3, 6, 9, 12 months and so on? Eventually those cups shrivel up and get taken away, effectively. And then your chance of springing back to where you were is drastically reduced. So set point theory is a reminder that even on the weeks you don't necessarily lose and you have previously lost, that's another week closer to that weight being permanently gone. So there we are. Next thing I was going to jump on to is I do have a special offer with my membership, which there's no joining fee at the moment. I had a bit of a pickle the other day where one of the forms hadn't adjusted the wording, but the link was right. It was weird, but regardless, it's all there. So the workouts, the exact workouts I'm doing now to get lean, and already I've dropped, I think it's either 15 pounds or 16 pounds in 4 weeks, right? So with the right changes made, you can get similar results too. So if you are interested, there's 4 live classes every single week. They can all be done afterwards via recording. And also with the membership, you get access to a support community where I'm in, people can ask questions. And then the key thing is you also get all my programs. So now, at the moment, my members are working through Launchpad, which we started at the turn of the year. And that finishes up this week. Again, you would have access to it, but I mean, in terms of the live coaching that goes with that. And the next program I'm going to do leading into the summer is going to be the 50 plus program. Now, you don't have to be 50 plus to benefit from the 50 plus program. I'm 41 and you know, it benefit me too. Even people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond would benefit from the advice. But that's going to be the next program we're following. Now, often when I do these programs, I usually then get people to, they would have to purchase the program and join in that way. But if you get in now, you will save yourself the joining fee. So you're saving yourself £200, just you get straight in, you get all that content, and then when the 50 plus program lands, it'll just be appearing on your account and you can join in, and there'll be weekly coaching that will go along with that too. So definitely worth thinking about. So if you are interested, just go to my website, coachrab.com, and you can get yourself signed up there. So like I say, today's lesson was the set point theory, because this week I did everything spot on. I was very happy with my approach this week. The weight shuffled a little bit. I'm not concerned in the slightest because of set point here. I know that my body shape is changing and I'm definitely getting leaner. And my target zone is up here for the particular photo that I want anyway. So everything's going really, really well. However, I mean, if I didn't get much of a change next week, then I would then adjust things, but I'm not panicking. So set point theory, with the getting lean, like I say, that's quite a bit of weight off I've got already. It's either 15 or 60 pounds. I need to go back and look. And everything's going really well. My approach to that, which I've preached on every single video, but I just keep saying over and over and over again so I can remind you, it is low carb Monday to Friday and a carb up on the weekends. And there's lots of different approaches to carbohydrates. I said on the episode 1, I wasn't 100% certain what I was going to do, but it's a form of carb cycling. And after the first week, I then was like, right, this is what I'm going to do. There's lots of other ways you can manage your carbs, but regardless, to get results, you need to have a structure in place for your carbohydrates, whatever that structure is. So I've gone for the low carb Monday to Friday, carb up on the weekends. Low carb is just then only get my carbs through vegetables, fruit, and lots of salad. So it's not no carb, it's just low carb. Protein wise, you want to get at least 80 to 100 grams of protein a day, but I've been trying to hit 150, 160 grams because I'm trying to keep the muscle that I bulked up prior to Christmas. Fasting, so I do time restricted dieting, so it's a fasting feeding window. Again, if you're not on any medication, there's no reason why you couldn't do that too. When it comes to fasting, there's lots of different methods. Find the one that works best for you, but with a good rule of thumb with fasting, the longer the fast, the less of them you do in the week, which is why I choose the time restricted, because it's 12-hour fasting, 12 hours feeding, and it takes advantage of the serotonin and melatonin cycle. You can basically do it every single day. So I quite like doing that. So I like that for the consistency. Other people might go for a 24-hour fast or an 18-hour fast twice a week or something. Whatever works for you. The fasting is a tool, assuming that you can, because not everybody can fast if they're on medication or maybe if they've ever had histories of eating disorders and things. But with that being said, the 12-hour fasting is quite nice because it's a 6 p.m. cut off, nothing but water in the evening and through the next day. And actually, don't think of it as a fast, just think of it as a feeding window and you get a good result that way. And then movement wise, I've been just getting 3 cardio sessions in a week. In about a month's time, I'll probably increase that or switch that to steps, because steps get me in really good steps. So lots of walking. At the moment, I'm enjoying the cardio. I'm using that as kind of therapeutic therapy. I put my tunes on and enjoy it. So I'm enjoying the fitness that I feel from cardio. Because when I say cardio, I'm talking about steady state fat burning. You know, where I'm on the cross trainer for 45 minutes to an hour, I get a good sweat on. But when I do switch, I'll be then jacking up my steps in a day, probably over 20,000 a day. We're doing lots of extra walks, and then I won't need my cardio then. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that, but regardless, you need some sort of thing with movement as well. And then overall, it's consistency. It's having your goal in the forefront of your mind, wanting it bad enough and working hard for it, which I've got my specific goal in mind and it means a lot to me. So I'm like, right, I'm working hard for that too. So there we have it. So set point theory, the special offer membership, get in now. Don't waste. If you've been on the fence with this, come along. It's a great bunch of people in there. You can either join the classes on Zoom or you can join them on YouTube and just hide in the background. And they're all recorded, so you can do them afterwards. You can always revisit them later. The community's great, the little challenges in there, and we're always got a good chat and good questions and all that kind of stuff as well. And of course, when the 50 plus program comes up as well, you'll have access to that too. So there we are, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic weekend and catch up with you all soon. Bye bye.